Hey everyone, good day, and thank you for tuning in to Within the Cauldron. Today we will be chatting with no other than Christine Ashworth, who is the sister of the legendary Scott Cunningham. Um, she also is an author herself, romance, paranormal um, books. We will dive in about herself, her brother Scott, and her family. So please join us and listen. Hello, Christine. Thank you for coming.
Hello, Chrissy. Happy to be here.
I'm so excited about you coming. It's like, okay, don't panic and everything. Don't be nervous. But no, I think it's just because, and we were saying earlier, you know, um, you yourself is an author, your brother is, your father is, and just recently I found out, well, not recently, but 2017, when my father passed away, I found out that he was a big fan of your father, Chet Cunningham. And then I was like, of course, we're a fan of Scott's and I'm a fan of yours. I was like, that's really ironic. It's like a generations of book readers, of the same family. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. I really like that. But we will get started. How was it being Scott's little sister?
Oh, wow. um, for the most part, it was great. I mean, he was 4 years older than me. So, and our older brother Greg was 6 years older than me. So I was the tag along. I was the baby sister. I was, the only girl. So
Mm-hmm.
I got my own room, which they did not like. Um, but for the most part, it was you know, fine. It was normal. Scott was Scott. Scott was great. When he wasn't tormenting me, he was great.
Well, being a big brother of
Yeah.
4 years older, yeah, I know how that is. They kind of torment the little sister. I'm a little sister myself of siblings of five, so
Mm.
I know. So, um, when did he started his spiritual path? Do you know?
Oh gosh. I I will never be able to pinpoint a date, but I can say he was always curious about everything around him. He always had questions and he was always looking for answers. And when I mean, he would have questions about the stars, and about how things grew, and it, I mean, um, so he was always a seeker, and I don't think he found a home
Mhm.
really until he found Wicca, until he found that nature based, it's all around you. And I'm not sure exactly when that was. Um, I'm guessing 11, 12, 13, but I could not swear to it.
Now, I know that when I was researching that he did some rituals at the kitchen table, maybe. I think that was it. Did he ever involve you into any of his workings? More or less, did he teach you anything?
Oh yeah. He never called it, you know, witchcraft or rituals, or it was just like, ooh, want to see what candle wax does when you float it on water, when you drip it into water. And look what happens when you put oil and ink into water, and what do you see, and things like that. So in a way, he was passing on to me what he'd learned. And so we were kind of learning together because, whenever you teach something, you learn it better.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess in a way, in a very, very tiny way, I was his first student. Um, but we never did anything formal. It was never any, okay, now you got to do this and you have to do that. And the altar has to be set up this way. It was none of that at all. Um, just, and this is how you can go into a trance, and this is how you can do this. And it's just, it was part of my life all ever since I can remember. I mean, it was nothing, I was little, I was young. And it was just one of those things.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Amazing. I would love to have a big brother like that. So, what made you decide to do the book, The Path Taken?
Oh, I want to see if I have a copy around here somewhere. I'm sure I do. I just don't know where it is. I was at the Autumn Meat Pagan Festival in 2018. Mm-hmm. And it's a festival in Florida. Phoenix Fire puts it on. I'm going again next week, by the way. And they had me out, and I did some workshops on tarot, and I did a workshop on Scott. And there were probably 200 people at the festival altogether. And there was like 12 different things going on at the same time mine was. And I actually had about 25 people there, which was amazing considering how many other things were going on. And afterwards, I had people coming up to me and saying, "Thank you so much for telling us stories about your brother. We never knew the man behind the books." Because he died in 1993, and that was before social media, before everyone had a cell phone, before selfies, before, I mean, he had some press. I mean, he did go on Sally Jesse Raphael once with everybody knows his name except I've just Big Blue Ray Buckland.
Oh yes,
it's a fabulous interview if you haven't seen it. Scott gets a little salty. But it wasn't so much of a celebrity culture as it is now. So, but afterwards, after the talk, it was like, you're going to write a book about him, aren't you? I'm like, no, why would I do that? Just why? I don't understand. And it wasn't until later on, the gal that helped get me out there, her name is Drew Castle, and she sat me down. She said, "Girlfriend, this is 2018. My dad had died in 2017. My mom had died in 2007. She said, you are the only one who could tell his story. If you don't write it, nobody will be able to." And that just like hit me in the heart. Yeah. It's like, oh, holy fuck. Yeah. We're on this podcast.
That's okay.
It put a lot of things in perspective for me. Mm-hmm. And so 2018 was a really difficult year for me. It was not only wrapping up my dad's estate with my brother Greg, but it was also a really rocky time fiction-wise, because I had gotten into this anthology with there were some mean girls.
Yeah.
And it was a year-long endeavor, a year-long rough road. And so by the end of 2018, I was burnt out on writing fiction. And so I had this this thing in the back of my head. Okay, what about this book about Scott? That's not fiction. Mm-hmm. You can make it up. You don't have to sell it to anyone if you don't want to. You can just write it. And so I started writing in, I think, December 2018 and carried it on into 2019. And then 2019 was rough as well, because I had 2 bouts of severe bronchitis. Mm-hmm. So I was on God, words are leaving my brain today. I was on a nebulizer for 6-8 weeks at a time. And so that took 6 months of my life total.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a lot of writing during that time as well on Scott's book. But it was more like, type a header, like his wallet. Okay, I found his wallet in a box because we had boxes still from my dad's house, and I was trying to clean out the boxes. And the very, very bottom of this box was Scott's wallet.
Oh.
And I mean, it's his wallet.
Oh.
And I still have it in my desk drawer. I can't bring myself to throw it away. But I sat down and I titled the page his wallet, and I just started writing. And then once I had nothing more to say about that, I saved the document, closed it, and shoved away from my desk and went somewhere else and did something else. It took me 4 years to write the book. So, but that's the why. It was the people in Florida, the pagans in Florida, who said, we need this. And so this will be the first time going back that I'll be able to say thank you to them.
Oh, I totally agree with Drew, because only you are the only person that's alive can tell his story.
Yeah.
And with being 4 years apart, you probably was really close to him more than you was your older brother. So yeah, I'm glad you did.
It was also Greg left the house at 19. He got married and left the house at 19, and I was 13 at the time. And so, and then Scott stayed in the house. It was just Scott and me and mom and dad until Scott and I moved out when I was 18. So that was 5 years we had together. Mm-hmm. And so we grew a lot closer as I got older. And I was able to see things from different perspectives.
Yes, I bet. That is absolutely amazing. Now, Scott's books has been a pioneer inspiration for a lot of witches. It has been a starting foundation to everyone. I know we always suggested his books to our students, the Guide to Solitary Practitioner and Living Wicca. We suggested these books to make sure that our new students will have the dedication to the path and know what they are getting into. Now, I bet you get this a lot, and probably, I know you probably read his books. Now, what are your thoughts from other people when they tell you this, that his books was life-changing or it was a great start to their path?
It makes me very proud. He wasn't trying to change anyone's life. He wanted to give the world the resources that he didn't have growing in the path. He was lucky. He had people to learn from in San Diego, conservative Navy-based San Diego. Mm-hmm. And not everybody has that. You go into the breadbasket of the country, it's really hard to say, hey, I'm a witch. Is any other witches out here? It's like,
yes,
it's tough. And so he wanted to give people the knowledge that he had, and the fact that he did it and so well, just makes me immensely proud of him. And my dad was immensely proud of him too.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Now, I know I study underneath Reverend Gamasi too as well. Now, wasn't Reverend Gamasi and Scott friends at one time, or?
I believe so. Scott didn't cross-pollinate his friends. You were his family, or you were his witchcraft friends, or you were his church choir friends, or you were his school friends. And unless he knew you in more than one context. He didn't mix and mingle his friends.
Okay.
So I believe Scott and Raven Grimassi were friends, but I won't swear to it on a I won't swear to it. I can't prove it. So sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay. It just happened. It wasn't really a question that I had. It's just that you mentioned San Diego, and it's like, oh wait a second, Raven said something one time, and I thought I read it, so why not just ask?
Yeah. Well, Ray
Do you?
Buckland was definitely a friend of Scott's
Oh,
because
Buckman was, yeah.
he and Tara lived in San Diego for a while, and
Oh,
he actually Ray really got along well with my dad, and Tara said that Chet was instrumental in encouraging Ray to write fiction. So that's kind of fun.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be. Um, yeah, legend himself too, as well. In the
Yeah.
past, do you think he would have written more books? Because he did quite a few books.
Oh yeah, he would have. Yeah, he had books that he didn't get to write.
When he was alive. Was he on another project that you know, that any different traditions or anything?
Um, he hadn't the one book that he really wanted to write was the definitive book on the religions of Hawaii, um, the native religions of Hawaii, with citations and a big scholarly book. But he didn't have time, and he knew he wasn't going to have time to write that. So he pulled a lot of the things, excuse me, that would have needed citation, and and he sent it in. It was the last book that he sent in to Llewellyn. So, but yeah, there were quite a few books that he would have written had he stayed around, and I thoroughly believe that he would have gone into different traditions to study them and see what he could have learned, because he was not. He had a very open mind. He had one of the most open minds that I know of. Um, so yeah, I don't have it right now. Darn it. I would have read something for you, but I don't have it. Okay. Let me see. What can I do here? No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Oh, I can talk about the anthology I'm in. We haven't gotten there yet, but I'm a fiction writer. I am in this anthology called To LA with Love, and this is volume 1 of 3. I am in volume 1, and it's it is a fundraiser for the 2 libraries that were, well, the one in Pacific Palisades burnt down in January, and the one in Altadena was very badly damaged. So this is the romance writer's answer to a fundraiser for those libraries. So I believe you can still get it on Amazon. I'm not entirely sure, but I've seen, or wherever you get your books. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so. That would be great. I'm hoping Chrissy comes back. I don't know what to do. Let me see if she's contacted me. Let me see. There she is. Hopefully. Yes. So I have a very messy, as you can see, back. Hi, you're back.
I'm so sorry. We had a kind of like a power outage. Like it's just 1 second, and it just took everything down.
Well, I vamped a little
So
bit, so
that's okay. Thank you so much. We've been having such internet issues. We got to really look into for our next podcast before it comes up Friday because it's getting to be really a pain. So, but thank you for just, you know, in part two for everything.
yeah.
Um,
So we were talking about did he have any books left unwritten?
yeah.
Yes, yes, he would
Hmm.
have. He would have gone on to write more books. He would have, as I said, while you were gone, his love was the book on Hawaii. He wanted to write the big, definitive um, tome on the religions of Hawaii, and with citations and other experts weighing in. But he realized he wasn't going to have time to do that, so he had to pare it down. He took 3 days. He pared down all the stuff that would have needed citations, and that was the last book he turned in to his editor at Llewellyn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Um, do you know if oh, sorry, we asked that. Have you ever tried to talk to Scott in the afterlife? Have you done any seance or Ouija board or anything?
And no, I don't need that. Um, I was writing the very first thing I ever wrote for the book was sort of a, you know, basically talking to myself saying, why am I writing this? I'm writing this because, you know, and then it was like, I realized that when I'm finished with this is going to go out in the world and it won't be mine anymore. It'll be yours. It'll be
Mhm.
my words, yes, but filtered through your
Mhm.
experience and your imagination. Um, and, and right when I got into that part, I mean, literally, this is like the first 150 words I'd written. I just heard Scott sigh and say, just get on with it already. So I said, okay, so here I go, getting on with it. And that was the first time I heard him talk. Um, and when I have issues, I will talk to him, and we will argue with each other. And he's there. He's never not been there when I've really needed them. I will say that. And I had, you know, my mom, I have only dreamed of my mom once. Um, I've only dreamed of my dad once. My dad is a solid, reassuring presence. He doesn't really talk to me, but when I talk to him or when I'm in my garden, I can feel him. My mom, I think she's already transitioned off into some other beautiful world doing the work that she really wanted to do. Um, but my dad and Scott are there when I need them, which is really nice.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Um, now Scott was never in a coven. He even have a teacher, or he just kind of taught
Oh,
himself.
that's yeah, no, that's let me stop you. Scott was in three covens. Scott
Oh,
has been
wow.
initiated into three traditions. No, I don't know what they are. Um, if you read the first biography that was written about him called Whispers of the Moon, uh, you're going to have to go to used bookstores or abe.com because it's not in print anymore. But they delineate which traditions he was. I mean, he rose to high priest in one of them. I don't remember which one it is. He was not just a first degree initiate, he was a third degree initiate. I believe in all three of them. And two of them were in person, One of them was one of his teachers was up in San Francisco. I think her name was Ruth. I'm not entirely sure. So a lot of his teachings were done by correspondence, letters written back and forth, and phone calls. But that's pretty much all I know. So yeah, anyone says Scott didn't belong to a coven, nah, that's wrong. That's flat out wrong. He did.
Okay.
And he belonged to his first coven. I think he was 14 when he joined.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Now, for Scott's books, they actually help all of us. It helps our students, our covens, just individual. Now, we never wanted to start a coven, so it just happened by the goddess hands. But I'm glad it did, because it gave me a chance to give my students Scott's books to learn, which was great. He's very inspiring, very, very. Did you reach out to other authors when writing the Path Taken?
Yes and no. When I first finished the book, it was an ugly baby book. I had done, I got it where I thought it was done, sent it to my brother Greg to look at. He put it in chronological order, which, okay. And then I got, somebody said, well, this is really nice. It's about Scott. And I learned more, but, I don't think you're going to find a publisher for it, but good luck. Hopefully you do. And I went, okay, so something's missing. And I sent it to two very good friends. And one of them said, you've got too much about your grandparents in here that's not directly related to Scott. I went, okay, I can take that out. And I did. And then another friend said, you know what? I love all the background stuff. I love the stuff about your grandparents. But what I really want is, what's his numerology like? What's his astrology like? How has he impacted people? And I went, oh, good point. So I went to Nancy Hendrickson for his numerology. She freaking nailed it. I mean, if you want to know what Scott was like, read her section on him in the book. It's Scott to a T. And then I hadn't met Nancy yet in person, but we were friends on Facebook. So I had met the beautiful Beneville Wen, who's a tarot and astrology person. And she's amazing. She's so freaking smart. She was thrilled to be asked to do his astrology chart. And again, she nailed him. It was just like, it's like getting to know him as an adult, 30 years after he passed away. And they were happy to contribute. And then I just reached out to a couple more people, and then I was at a conference, and somebody said, Storm Fairy Wolf said, I had this part about Scott in one of my books, and my publisher didn't want it in there because it mentioned he was gay. And I went, I want it. Do you want to be in my book? I'd love to have it. Please, I would love to have that piece. And so he wrote a piece for me. And then I just had people, kind of coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, I would love to have a place in it. And I left it up to my publisher as to whether or not they all got included. And at the time I put them, this is a long-winded explanation, I'm sorry.
It's okay. No.
I was getting ready to put the proposal together, and I had the proposal format. And then I said, okay, put your first couple chapters in. And I went, my first 2 chapters were so boring that I thought, no one's going to buy this. I'm going to have to self-publish it. Me and Greg will buy a copy each, and then Greg will return his, and it'll be just a disaster. So I went back again. This is rewrite number 9 at this point. I went back and reshaped the entire book, which means I took it out of chronological order and I made it an emotional journey instead, because that is really how I wrote it, as an emotional journey. And chronologically, it was boring. But when you get, the highs and the lows and the highs, and you know what's coming, but you don't know how you're going to get there. That is what really made the book come alive for me. And then when Wiser, when the I don't, not Judica, but the person that puts the book together. I don't know what you call them. They're brilliant. She's the one that slotted in the varying offerings from the other writers, and really made the book sing, I think.
I'm still here. My camera just, I don't know, having a bad day. It's Monday, so, but oh well. um, I have not read The Path Taken. I have heard so much about it, and I did order it, so it should be coming soon, probably any day. It probably comes this afternoon. I was like, yep, it figures. My luck. Once again, Monday. Now, when did you started your path on your spirituality? Was it after Scott's passing, or was it before?
I would say both. Yeah, I would say both. I wanted to dig into it earlier. 1999, Christopher Pensack was putting together the Temple of Witchcraft. I believe it was 99. And he was also writing a book on ancestors of the craft. And he reached out to me and said, would you write something for me about Scott? And I said, sure, no, not a problem. And so I did. And then I went online and saw what he was doing. And he was teaching a Temple of Witchcraft Level 1 class that he was doing via online. Wasn't really a thing yet, but he had CDs and you had homework that you had to do. So I signed up for it. And then I thought, what the hell am I doing? I can't. It's like going to college again. I've got 2 small kids. I work full time. I'm trying to write on the side. I don't have time to learn to be a witch too. So I backed out of the class. I told them to keep the money. I didn't want a refund. And I have the book still, and I have the CDs somewhere. And but that was my first, this you're gonna do it. You are. It's just a matter of time, you're gonna do it. And then in as I got older and the kids got older and I changed jobs and I started writing more, and I was working at Coldwater Creek, which had physical stores back in the day, which was great, women's clothing. And I was closing one night, and this gentleman came in looking for clothes for his wife, gorgeous, 60s, silver fox type of guy. And I was wearing multicolored rings, and I had, all the different kinds of gems on my body. It was, and I was ringing him up, and he said, I see you're wearing, amethyst and citrine and peridot, and there's, the onyx. And he goes, honey, what are you looking for? And I stepped back and I went, I don't know, a teacher? And he said, "Oh, good luck. Those are hard to come by."
Oh, wow.
And and then he took his I never saw him again. Never saw the man again. And so I kind of that's when I started going back and reading and realizing I had all the knowledge I need in the books that I had. So
Wow.
uh, 2005, I mean, mind you, every time I get asked that question, I have to cast my mind back because the first time I got asked that question, I couldn't really say. Really could. Now, tarot I picked up in 2018. That I can nail down. But it took me a long time to sort of excavate my own past to realize it was probably 2005.
Now, I want to touch base on your books.
Sure.
Because your books, you have kind of got romance, paranormal, um, interesting, vampire, demons, fairies, um, even movie stars and singers and everything. Because you have the Kane brothers, the three
Mhm.
brothers, which I'm really, have really enjoyed reading about them and everything. Um, now, your first book on the Kane brothers, was that Demon Hunt?
Uh, no, it was Demon Soul.
Demon Soul. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I know Demon Hunt was like before or after. I didn't know. I was trying to think of how many books do I have. What are they in order? Because I know you had is a trilogy.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a trilogy. That they don't you can still find some of those online. Um, but I took those down and republished them under different titles and different covers because those covers and those titles were not selling. And so now it's fractured. Well, Guardian Soul is the prequel, and it's like a novella, not even novella length. And then there's Fractured Skull, which is Gabriel's and Gabriel's story. I don't remember the heroine's name. And then Demon Hunt became Warrior Soul. That's Gregor and Sarah's story. And then Ancient Soul is Justin and Maggie's story, which I have not yet put up online, and I apologize.
you need to.
I'm going to get it put up. If you really need a copy, that is see, Demon Soul, Demon Hunt, Demon Rage is the old title to that one.
Demon
And
Rage.
you
Okay.
can probably find it somewhere online, or you can just say, "Hey, send me a copy because I've got some hardbacks. I've got some
Oh,
copies here."
yeah.
And I haven't put the new titles up in paperback yet either, but that's coming too.
Oh, wow. I can't wait for that. Um, and then you also had the Star Tide
Yes.
books too, which was a little bit different than what the Kane brothers were, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hollywood, and yeah, it was just nice. You want to tell us a little bit about the Star Tide editions that you have?
Sure. That is set around Startide Agency, which is a talent agency. It starts in San Diego with the Christmas story called Christmas Star. And it's very sweet. I love that story to bits. It's only 99 cents on Amazon. Um, and it's so my idea was to take this talent agency, and then one man at the center of the talent agency would be just kind of like interweave through all the other stories. And so I have one Guarded Star. I'm trying to remember. Guarded Star, Star Crossed, and Rising
The
Star.
Rising Star. Yep, the Rising Star.
And so those are the contemporary
The,
um, grounded in reality books, set in Los Angeles and San Diego, because I know those two places. Now, the Kane Brothers series, while it's contemporary, it's paranormal romance, and that is I don't have to. No one can tell me I'm doing it wrong. As long as my paranormal world, I don't break my own rules in my paranormal world. So I started writing that in 2008. After 2009, my mom died in 2007. And it really pissed me off that she would never get to see one of my books in her hands.
Yeah.
So I started going down the paranormal route, and that's what got picked up first.
Well, they're awesome. I mean, I really enjoy them, and they're short and sweet. I think the first one I did was, I don't know if this was a Star Tide. What was something about snowed, snowed in or
Snowed In at Christmas. That's
that's it.
standalone short. Yeah.
Okay. Because that didn't have anything to do with the Star Tide.
No.
Okay. That was one of the first books I had, and then that's got me hooked. And then I read Christmas Snow, and that got me hooked to the others, which got me hooked to everything else. And it's like, okay.
Oh wow! Yay!
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said I was a fan of yours, because I mean, I do have some books on Kindle, and there was some that I got from paperback too as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy reading them. It's different. I like books like that because you can read so much spirituality books, witchcraft or Egyptian or Celtic or anything. And it's kind of nice to just bring yourself back away from that, the learning, and just kind of fantasize about everything else, visualize, it's like,
everyone
great.
deserves a happy ending.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's true.
And life is so stressful that there's nothing wrong with escaping into a book at all.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. Now, with your father being a writer, and I think, I know, my dad had, I don't know how many books, over 100, maybe 200. He had a lot of books from your father. Mm-hmm. Do you think he influenced you and Scott, well, especially Scott, from writing a book?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I would fall asleep to the sound of his manual typewriter every night. So, I mean,
that was something.
That's all he did was write. I mean, he wrote car columns. He wrote anything anyone would pay him for. Prior to his first sale of a Western, which was he was 39. It was in 1968, I believe. Yeah. Just before his birthday in 1968, he got his first contract. His first contract for a Western. Prior to that time, he had been writing pornography books.
Oh, no.
under pseudonyms. Hey, you got to feed your family.
Of course. Hey, you got to do anything.
And they're in the
to survive. As long as you're not harming nobody,
exactly.
You got to survive. Exactly. That's how I look at it. So
exactly. And we only know that because when Greg and I were cleaning out our dad's house, he went up to the attic and found 2 big grocery bags full of these books.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was interesting.
Well, I'm sure my dad probably read some of those too, but we didn't find them.
Well, he was really an amazing man, fast writer. He had over 350 novels published in his lifetime.
Oh my God.
And fiction novels.
I couldn't imagine.
Time, all the 5 the big five publishers, and he wrote he had over 60 nonfiction books published as well, some in the medical field. And so, I mean, he was the standard. I mean, I will never have published as many books as he did. It's impossible. Some of the books that he wrote were under a house name. Okay, so for instance, did you know Nancy Drew books are still being written and published today?
No, really?
Yep, because it's a house name. The publisher owns the name now. That they were written under. I don't remember the name. Sorry, Caroline King. Caroline King.
Good. Oh, okay.
And so people get contracted, and they've modernized Nancy quite a bit. No boyfriends, but Bess is still there, and so is the other one. I don't remember the other one's name. The other girlfriend, but they are still there. And yeah, I was at a conference in July, that an author said, this is how I was a contract writer. Somebody paid me to write Nancy Drew books. And and that's how my dad got a lot of his start, was writing. He wrote for he wrote the odd numbered Penetrators books. He wrote, it was men's action series. Mac Bolan, he wrote Mac Bolan books under a house-owned name. And he wrote plenty under his own name. Pony Soldiers, Gold Wagon series. I can't remember them all.
I remember seeing some from my father's box. Justice, Mr. Justice, Manhunt, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Some books that I don't know I think it might have been a collection. Not for sure. I have to go back through them if I want to touch the shed. We're back in the shed. It's like, oh,
danger.
Well, it needs to be cleaned out anyway, kind of condensed down. So you stated one time in an interview that you learned your first divination from your mother.
Yes.
And explain what type of divination was that?
Well, there are three. The very first one, I think we all are introduced to, outside of birthday candles, that's its own thing, is blowing the seeds from the head of a dandelion after it's turned into a puffball. Mm-hmm. Make a wish and blow. If most of the seeds come off very easily, your wish will be granted fairly soon. If only part of the seeds come off, it might happen, but it's not going to be anytime soon. And if none of them fall, that's you picked the wrong seed head, basically.
Better luck next time.
Yeah. The next one is the he loves me not, pulling from the daisy. And my mom said you can use that for anything. It doesn't have to be if somebody loves you. I went, oh. And that's when I also realized that odd, because it's always he loves me comes first, right? Mm-hmm. So the first one is he loves me. The second is he loves me not. So odd numbers are good. Even numbers, you're probably not going to get what you want.
Yes.
And you can use the odd even thing in throwing dice, in just about anything, really. And the third one was using rose petals. You take a rose petal, hopefully that's fallen, not picking it from a rose, and you make a circle with your non-dominant hand, and you put the rose petal on top. And My mother always got hers to snap, but you kind of you make a wish, or you say, "Will this happen?" or however you want to word it, and then you snap it. And if it makes a popping sound, it's good. You're good to go. If it doesn't, it's try again. And
And
Scott was very,
that's pretty cool.
yeah, it was. It was. And that is something else that in going through, I was putting together a talk about Scott that I did at Paganicon. And that's one of the things that I came across. I was like, oh, wow. That's fascinating, that, I mean, she wouldn't have put it in those terms, I don't think, calling it divination, but I mean,
That's amazing. Your family sounds really amazing. And I mean, I can just feel the vibrations of the love and passion and just in your voice when you talk about your family. How would you describe your family when you was growing up?
oh, we were rock solid. We were rock solid. We were the stable. My parents didn't drink, smoke, or swear. I
Well,
never
that's
saw
good.
I never saw them fight. And as I'm saying these things, I'm going, oh damn. I don't smoke, but I drink and I swear, and my husband and I have fought in front of our kids. So, oh well. But we were the house that, kids would come to after school because both parents were always home. Always home. There was always safety. There was always a snack or something to drink if you needed it. Or, it was just, I don't know. I was the kid at slumber parties who was fine until about 11:30 at night. And then I'd go up to the gal's mom and say, could you call my parents? I want to go home. Because I knew I was safe at home. And I couldn't be sure about anywhere else. And I don't know where I got that from. If it was just maybe it's just me being, I don't want to say stupid or childish. Maybe it was just me being overly careful, because nobody said, be careful of strangers. I mean, they did, but I don't know how to articulate it, but I knew that if I was home, I was safe. It was always the safe place. So, I would have to say our family was rock solid and
That's
full of love.
awesome. Have you ever thought about doing a book about your life, about your family, your life, you growing up? Scott, a little bit of Scott, but mostly about yourself, because you know it's amazing. Your family sounds amazing. You had a good relationship with your brother, and I think you have a lot to say about family life, really, because nowadays sometimes the qualities in a family is just not there, and I think it'd be a really good book. I know I would buy it, but I'm a big fan anyways. But have you ever thought about doing a book about your family?
No. My grandmother did. She put together a book about her family, and my dad helped type it up and everything. And it's up on my bookshelf somewhere. But we never published it. And I could, if I took that and did some tweaks to it. It's not just mine, because it was distributed to all of the grandchildren and the great grandchildren of it. So I can't really claim copyright from it. So I would have to, but my own personal life, no, no. The problem is that happy doesn't sell. Drama sells. And my life was pretty drama free, not including the trials and tribulations of the teenage years in a ballet company. But outside of that, pretty drama free. And happy doesn't sell, really. So no, I haven't.
That might be a thought about talking to maybe your cousins and says, hey, let's produce this book and make it as the Cunningham family history or something, or something like that, because I think it'd be pretty cool to put all that your grandmother has written into something. I mean, not a book for maybe the public, but even for the family would just be nice. I know my grandparents always has done like family cookbooks or something. They would just put it in a book and memory book and give it to the grandkids for Christmas, which was always awesome.
Yeah.
Since you do have children, have you ever taught them about the path?
No, no. I mean, it's all around them. If they wanted to, they could. But because let's see, by the time I really got into it, just checking to see if my husband was there. By the time I really got into it, in 2005, my oldest was 15. I have 2 boys, and it just didn't. I find it a very personal thing. I personally am not in a coven. I was for a while, and I did get initiated. I'm very grateful because it gave me structure. But it's when I first landed in the town that I'm in now, I was raised Methodist. The Cunninghams were all raised Methodists. And so I took I still haven't pulled my membership from the church. I don't donate anymore, but I'm still a registered Methodist somewhere. I took my boys to Sunday school and to church services, and I really loved the pastor there. But he was getting older and he retired, and I did not like the new pastor, so I never went back. And that was pretty much it for religion in our family. My husband's an atheist, has been since he was 12. Can't blame him. That's his own story to tell. And it's all around them. Yeah. I have bells at the doors. I have candles everywhere. I have crystals everywhere. I have books everywhere. If they were interested, they're in their 30s now. If they were interested, they would dive in.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I agree. We had 4 kids, and we didn't push the path on them. Of course, they always came with us to pagan events because they were smaller kids, and we can't just leave them at home. So we took them with us, but we always made them choose what they wanted to do because, it's like you said, it was personal. Your path is personal. So yeah, I 100% agree with you there. For the last question I have for you is, what are the new projects you have coming up?
Oh, I'm working on a new fiction series.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's it's paranormal women's fiction with magic, murder, and dragons.
Oh, we do paranormal podcasts too. Just to let you know.
Well, yeah, so I had stalled on this project for a couple of years because when the world falls apart, it's kind of hard to keep your own internal cheerleader going. And so the writing conference that I went to in July was in at Niagara Falls in Canada, on the Canada side. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I got a lot of positive feedback and a lot of inspiration and a lot of, you can do this. I've got two families. I've got my writing family and I've got my my pagan family, and both of them are so important in my life, and I had been missing my writing family. So that kind of, I've been writing every day since I got back, which is great. I'm almost a little over halfway through this first book. And I'm hoping this is going to be a multi-book series. So we shall see.
Oh, good. I'm excited about that. I'll be pestering sometimes. How
Please
you
do.
come along with your book? Is the book finished yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Welcome.
I love reading your books.
Thank you.
And it's like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's so ironic how my father read your father books, and we read your books and Scott's books. And my kids has read Scott's books, and I got my youngest daughter into reading the Kane brothers, books. So
How old is she?
she's 32.
Okay, she can read them.
Oh yeah, all my kids are in their 30s.
Mine
So,
too.
but yeah, oh yeah. If she was younger than that, way younger, it's like nope, not yet. But we just love books. We just love books. So we're a big reader. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out. I know it's probably been a busy day, and it's a Monday, and so far it's going good for me, except for a few minutes ago with everything took off and just lights out for a second, and but we survived.
We did. We did.
We did. We survived. So I just want to say thank you so much, though, and blessings to you and to your family,
Oh,
and to all the audience. Subscribe, share, and like, and blessings to you all, and have such a fabulous week. Goodbye, everybody.
bye.
Sounds like a really nice lady.
I can end it.
Decent woman. That's good.
And trying to end it. Oh,
Thank you so
there
much.
we go.